Back again. Hello, guys. If you're just switching over from the members only, welcome back. If you were in the members only, welcome in. So good to see everybody. I have to be honest, like this past week, we took a break because we're kind of at a stagnant point with the vault, because I feel like we have gone over every single aspect of this case, up one side, down the other. We kind of don't know really what to do next, other than the marathon that I want to do with the timeline, which I think is going to be super beneficial, but it's taking me a lot to. Quester is never short of details. And so Quester has put together for me his perception of the timeline starting from the 12th all the way to the morning of the 14th. So what I'm trying to do is take the timeline, which we've gone over a lot of this on the Vault episodes, and provide correlating information that backs up what's in the timeline. So you guys don't, so for those people who, I guess, all of you who are diehards, who are here every single week, we love you. We thank you for that. We're just hoping that we can expand this community into more of not just the guilters and the people who think that Rick Allen's innocent. We want this to become like a battle cry for Abby and Libby and a battle cry for Rick Allen, and expand across the country, which I can't imagine that our little voices over here are going to do such a thing, but we can always be hopeful, So the marathon is going to be a big deal, because we're, ultimately it boils down to one major statement, and that major statement is from the juror who was on murder sheets that said, well, who else could it have been? There was nobody else there. Well, we're going to show you how wrong you were misled. I don't blame the jurors in this case. I blame the state for being bad actors. But we're going to show you who else was there, and all of the alternative possibilities of who could have committed this crime. And so the last couple of weeks, we've been kind of, kicking back and forth. What are we going to cover next? We went over the crime scene. We're limited on that because we don't even have the actual autopsy reports. We're taking after the fact comments, that apparently the defense team went back and looked at autopsy photographs and seen where the girls had markings on their wrists, where they could have been restrained, which is something that we were told, but it was never proven. We don't even have a freaking time of death, for Christ's sake. So it's been a little bit of a struggle bus here for the last week or so, trying to figure out where we're going to go next. So the one thing I did was I posted in the hold on one second here. What's going on? I posted in the group, the Facebook group. And if you're not a member of the Case by Case Facebook group, please join, as long as you have, Jax, chill out, buddy. As long as you have a Facebook account that has a history. We're not going to let somebody in who just created a Facebook account 2 days ago. Kathy will let you in. All decisions are made with the Facebook group by Kathy. So, and then also April is also an admin. So we try to keep the group, fact driven. We don't allow, there's no arguing in my group. There's no arguing. It's just like our chat. I mean, our chat is, I love our chat. We have adults in here. And even when we have somebody who pops in, that's, not a normal channel goer who wants to insert drama. You guys handle yourselves amazingly, and I appreciate that, because it's not necessary. So anywho, I posted in the group, what are your guys' thoughts? Give me some ideas. So we have a list that we're gonna begin to work off of, kind of going forward. So the vault continues, because it's imperative that the vault continues, because we're going into oral arguments in September. And I want to be here for it. I want to cover everything and all things leading up to it. As you guys know, this will be the 4th year, believe it or not, my 4th year traveling to Delphi. So this year it's going to be a big deal, because I know more now than what I did last year and the year before that and the year before that. But we really know now what we have to narrow down and really focus on why we're there, that we can bring back to share with you guys, as far as actual video footage of the crime scene, measurements from Libby's tree to the creek's edge, visual shots from the creek, from the crime scene to the other side of the creek, up the first hill, up to the private drive, up to the actual down the hill area where Abby and Libby were brought down. And there's a lot of things that I want to do that it's kind of very scary to go there, to be honest, because you don't know how you're going to be perceived by locals. I know that there's a handful of locals who embrace what we're doing, and then there's locals who are just completely against anybody wanting to trudge on their property or argue that Rick Allen didn't do this. They just want this whole case to go away. So we have to be very careful. And this time around, I'm hoping that we can legally get it done correctly with permission. So we're not on eggshells while we're there. And I just want all of you to know that if you live in the United States and you ever want to go on a road trip, or you're ever over here in the Midwest, despite this case, Delphi is a beautiful community. It's a beautiful area. I honest to God, I could live there. The scenery driving in and around the area, the downtown is so quaint. It's just a beautiful area. And it's so sad that it's only really put a pinhead on the map because of this case. And I'm sure there's a million other little cities and towns and counties throughout the US that are like this. This just so happens to be one that I've latched onto, I guess. But anywho, one of the things that Mother of Dragons, girl, I love you. Thank you so much. One of the things that, yes, Candy, you're so absolutely right. One of the things that I thought about, besides all of you in the group have great ideas. So I'm going to kind of go through and see how we can put a live stream together, incorporating all of your requests or ideas about topics. But the one thing that I feel that's very important right now going forward is the Delphi cameras that were collected by law enforcement. We've talked about them. We've explained that they've never been viewed by the defense. Today, together, we're going to pin them on the map, and we're going to discuss their location, what they could have showed, what we should expect to see, et cetera, et cetera. And the other thing that I came across that I feel that some of you guys could really give some insight to is Fig Solves. If you are familiar with the YouTubers who have covered this case, Fig Solves is an individual who has his own channel. Nothing against him. He doesn't believe that Rick Allen is innocent. He's entitled to that opinion. He's released a couple of videos regarding, well, the titles are Rick Allen is still guilty. And I've not watched his videos. I have a really hard time watching videos like that because I get so angry and I want to take to the airwaves. And that's not a good look. So what I did do was I read his community post, and he had a couple, and one of them I shared with Quester, and I said, okay, he's talking about Brad Holder's alibi. And for a non-Delphi core follower, his points sound really spot on. Like if you're somebody who is aware of the Delphi case, you're not aware of the details, the players, the who's who, the evidence, the way the trial was handled, the way all of the pretrial hearings were handled, and you're not aware of the facts of the core facts of this case, you would read his community post and go, Rick Allen is freaking guilty. So we're going to hopefully, between now and the time that we are able to present the marathon and the timeline, I think that we're going to do a little bit of work on kind of showing how she's not completely accurate on Brad Holder's alibi, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I love you too, Mother of Dragons, by the way. And everybody who's been here from the very beginning, newcomers, old timers, all of you who have gone through all of this with me, through the ups and the downs and the hang-ups. Quester and I appreciate all of you. So, Quester, do you have something that you want to just throw out there before we just go into it?
Not really. I appreciate all the things that go on in the chat. We get some very useful little pointers there. But what would be even greater, when you give us a bit of information, if you could give us some kind of receipts with it, would be absolutely fantastic, because that way we can track it down. But that said, even giving us some what you think is helpful. So thank you all.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fig Solves is a man, and he was heavily involved in the contempt hearing issues. And I don't know his backstory. I'm sorry. So I don't really want to speak too much detail on it. I know that he had a family member, I believe, that was either murdered or something happened. And he was working with Nick McClellan behind the scenes. And I believe that he was getting information from someone in Judge Gall's office and sharing information that he, you know, who am I to knock? I'm not going to knock anybody. I share information that I'm probably not supposed to have either. So I'm not going to knock him for that. He believes in his version of events. I believe in mine. And so I just, and like Quester said, if you go over to Fig Solves page and you read his version of Brad Holder's alibi and you have information that disputes it, if you email it to us, just show us the receipts. That helps saves us a lot of time. Monday, yes, there were multiple trail cams, and just anywho. So here is my list. These are the lists of cameras to date that we are aware of that law enforcement collected in the early hours after the crime. And if you scroll down the list here, we have a couple of residential addresses that belong to Pat Brown, Christopher Neighbors, Julie Holder. Then we have some businesses. We have the Carroll County Jail. We have City Hall, CVS. which is interesting because CVS is where Rick Allen worked. So if they collected a camera from there, I'm wondering what angle did the camera show? Because if you remember, Dr. Walla claimed that Rick Allen disposed of his box cutter in the CVS dumpster. Then we have Danny's Auto Shop. We have the Delphi Sitco. We have Dollar General. We have Dollar General in Flora. We have the FFB ATM. We have the FFB drive-through. Hoosier Harvest Store, which there were 4 cameras that I'm aware of, according to the FBI, that were on that building on February 13th. So you've got the Hoosier Harvest Store times 4. The Delphi Public Library, not only which is on the main thoroughfare on Main Street. So anybody coming from downtown Delphi out to the trails, back from the trails through downtown, could have been caught on any of these cameras, but especially the library is important because that is where Betsy Blair went to use the bathroom in between her second and third loop. We have Mitchell's Mexican Grill. We have the Office Tavern, which is right there behind the courthouse in downtown Delphi. We have Pearson's apartment. I'm assuming that's Daniel Pearson's apartment. Carroll County Courthouse, which is right there on the corner of the main thoroughfare of downtown. And when I was there last year, I do have a lot of video of some of these local buildings where the cameras were set. Unfortunately, I just haven't uploaded them yet. Sorry, guys. We have First Financial. We have the Marathon gas station, which we know now is a complete wash. I was there. I videotaped it. There are 3 cameras on that little teeny tiny Marathon gas station, 1 on the front and 1 on each side. Those were the cameras where we thought we were going to get video of Keegan Klein in his Jeep at that Marathon gas station. And the drive to the cameras was corrupted. And we never got the footage from that, or at least the state never got the footage for it. The McDonald's in downtown Delphi, the Pizza King in downtown Delphi, the Save-A-Lot in Delphi, which is where Rick Allen met Dan Doolin for the first time to provide him access to his phone and his interview. There's camera footage from there. Security Federal Credit Union. We have a Shell gas station. We have a Sunoco gas station. We have the transfer station, which is where we have video of Ron Logan dumping trash bags on the morning of the 13th. We have, what is that? True Value hardware store. We have Wallman's on Franklin Street. We have the Walmart in Lafayette, and we have Viewing Number 1. And then we have 1870 Extraction. And then on top of all of this, we have the Garrison report and the Garrison address, which is right across the street, literally from Ron Logan's property, where we know that there were 2 cameras retrieved from there. So let me check chat. Candy, can you send that to me again? I don't think that I got that. About the barrier in Abby. I know I did not get that, but I had to go in and redo my Google storage because I was over the max and I needed to delete a bunch of stuff. Yeah, so if you can resend me that, that would be great. Tom says, I have studied Delphi hard on Google Earth, expecting to break the case. Like it is insanely small, you guys, when you're there. It's literally insanely small, like the actual downtown Delphi. You can walk the whole square perimeter of the courthouse around downtown Delphi in a matter of 15 minutes. That's how small it is. So let me pull up, and I just want to make it clear the reason why this is important right now is because, to our knowledge, for whatever reason, the defense team never took the initiative to review any of these business CCTVs, footage, or cameras. They never watched them. So I think that it is very clear, and the proof is in the pudding when you look at what Michael Osbrook did with the motion to correct error. Just because the state has the information, and as long as they share it, it's not up to them to present it. If it doesn't support their narrative, they don't have to share it if they turn it over in discovery. What it boils down to is how much time, how discovery is labeled, how it's organized, and how things can be missed. And if you remember, in this case, Andrew Baldwin and Brad Rosie were kicked off this case. And immediately the discovery had to be turned back over. And already up to that point, when the Franks motion came out, they were already screaming, the discovery is a fucking mess. We know that they have this and they've not turned it over. We know that they have, like, just the Turco report, the Purdue professor. Look at the games they played with that. Look at the Todd Click letter that was sent to Nick McClellan. How he sat on that, for 4 months? And it took the defense finding out about it before Nick McClellan turned it over. And all of the in-betweens, all of the nefarious things in between, we get down to after the trial, we find out there's actually footage of the white van passing the Sandiford camera, entering the private drive at 2:44, after Nick McClellan had just sat on his pompous podium in front of a jury screaming, the girls were dead by 2:32 because Rick Allen saw a van prior to 2:32. And they knew all along. The van was on the camera at 2:44. And that's at 2:44. It's another good 5 minutes to get to an area underneath the south end of the bridge that whoever had the girls, if they were still in that area, would have seen the white van. 2:44 is when the van was seen. That van was supposed to have already been there and passed, and the girls were already supposed to have been unalived at 2:32. So if the state's not willing to show you that because it doesn't support their narrative, are we safe to assume that what we can find on these business cameras is going to be amazingly enlightening in Rick's benefit? I seem to think so. I believe that we're going to see Rick not driving the route the state claimed he drive. I think that we could possibly see Rick not possibly driving the black Ford Focus that he suggested he could have drived. I mean, this guilty man who unalived 2 girls had 7 years to sit on his story. And him and his wife shared 2 vehicles. Don't you think if he was smart enough to pull this off for 7 fucking years, don't you think he would have been smart enough to know to not make it a possibility that he was in the car that the state claimed he was driving, the Ford Focus? And maybe, and I say that, okay, let me back up because that's not necessarily a true statement. What I'm going to say in that is, if Rick was the killer and he drove a Ford Focus, a 2016 Ford Focus, to the crime, and he knew there was a possibility that he was going to be seen on camera, because remember, he drove all the way out, around and about to get to the CPS building to park and then walk out in plain sight down 300 North all the way up to the trailhead. He was smart enough to do that. Wouldn't if he had been smart enough to never even mention that he drove the car that he actually drove that day if he was the killer? Wouldn't it have been smart of him to say, I drove the 300? I just think of all of the ways that Rick Allen could have cleaned up his version of events to completely exclude him from being a suspect. And in actuality, what Rick Allen did was he just bared his soul in front of these detectives, being completely honest. And they railroaded the shit out of him for it. So, one second, let me pull this photo up. Quester, chit chat for a minute while I pull up an image.
Right. Yeah, Amy was talking about these cameras. Now, those cameras were supposedly obtained, or checked, I should say, on the 14th, I believe, 14th or 15th. Therefore, they all should have still had data from the 13th. I'm sure that Amy's going to go through all the locations with you shortly. But when she does, keep in mind what routes Richard Allen would have had to have taken, first to get there and second to get back. And as Amy works through them, note how many cameras and where he would have had to have passed. It's quite enlightening. And then bear in mind that none of these cameras that you're going to be told about, apart from the one at the Who's Your store, were even mentioned in trial. Yeah, obviously, Rick Allen had to drive out. He had to drive home. So there must be camera data showing that at least. So as I say, bear that in mind as Amy goes through them, and keep watching for ones that he would have definitely had to have passed if he'd done Route A, Route B, Route C.
Okay, so Quester, I have a favor to ask. I have a favor to ask really quick. And I was trying to pull it up and I'm not quite sure where I have it. But to save time, maybe you can find it quicker. You had mapped out for us months and months ago Rick's route on a map from his home, the back way to CPS, the route that the state claimed that he took. Do you have that handy? Do you know?
I'll have a look, see if I can find it.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is, let me share my screen, and we're going to kind of go through, so first and foremost, let me see. Let me pull these up. So we're going to start with the Delphi map that I have. Let me make sure you guys can all see this. Okay, good. And okay, so I have a Delphi map with all of the key elements of places. I mean, this is the big map with all the areas of importance, starting with the Hoosier Harvest Store cameras, 300 North, the Mears lot. The purple pin here is the coordinates of after the girls were dropped off by Kelsey. There was no coordinates for them leading all the way down 300 to the Mears lot, walking up the Mears trail, turning left onto the actual trailway until here where the purple pin is. So Rick would have had to have drove this whole way. And I'm hoping that Quester can pull up the map for us. Of Rick's route. Yes, I got it, Michael. I can pull that up. That's a map done by Yellow Jacket. I thought it would be more insightful to do it one by one. Let me see here. I will pull that in here. This is an overview of where the cameras are. It doesn't necessarily show you the route that Rick would have taken. And the key point of all of this is being able to literally follow Rick's movements that day. Country Butterfly, welcome as a new member. Which hopefully, if we ever get our hands on this footage, this will be the end all to this case. We will be able to prove that what the state's narrative claimed was not true. So let me go back. Quester, how are you coming? Do you have it, do you think, or no?
Not yet. I found the map of his roots from his mother, but not the one you're asking for.
Well, even the one from his mother, that'll give us partially the way. I have a video of the actual drive that we did, but that's too long to watch. I don't think, Candy, you're right. I don't think the defense knew that they actually had all of the footage. And I think the grenades that were constantly imploding in front of their face by Judge Gall in the state, and every single move they made, they were being derailed, prevented from, bringing certain pieces of evidence in, they completely, I don't want to say gave up mid-trial. I think it was just, you know, they hung their hat on the Odin theory. They hung their hat on the Frank's memo. And there was really a lot that they could have done besides that, that would have, without any expert, without any funds being paid to anybody, the timeline alone, the route that Rick drew, the route that Rick drove alone would have been enough to prove that he was not the bridge guy. So I'm going to share the screen again and we'll go through them. So let's start with, we're going to start with Pat Brown's address. So you guys remember Pat Brown? Pat Brown was the one who helped search, and he also was the one who found the bodies. This is Pat Brown's house. Now, Quester, if you can remind me, was Pat Brown's house on the route that Kelsey German would have taken on her way to the trails to drop the girls off? I'm going to say yes, because I have it marked on here. Here's the Patty's house. I want to make sure everybody's seeing this. There's the Patty's house. Kelsey came out of their driveway, turned right, followed the yellow line. She turned right again. She turned right on West State Road 218. So where is Pat Brown's house? So yes, she would have passed Pat Brown's house on the way to the trails that day. So now this right here, Quester, do you remember, for some reason I have it marked on the big map that there was a camera here at this residence?
Yeah, that was a tip that I received saying there was a camera there.
So 5164, this is West 375. We're going to see who lives there in real time. $51.64 West 375. Was 365. I'm not getting a name. 5164. Copy. I'm not getting a name on that address. You don't remember who it belonged to?
That was a long time ago. It's going to be one of those things sitting in my dusty files, I think.
Okay. So just notate that we had it marked down that there was a camera at this address. And then, so let's go. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a whole new map together, guys. Starting here. This is Pat Brown's. Which would have been on Kelsey's route to the trails. So we're going to pin that there. Then we're going to go to Chris Nabors, Nabors. We're going to add that. That's another camera that was retrieved. This is an interesting one because look at where it's at. So we have the Monon High Bridge right here, ending right here. And this is Chris Nabors' house. So if the girls were taken back through the woods in this direction, there are still some cameras that were obtained from back there. Not that that's what happened, but it's good to know that, I mean, there's cameras spread out throughout this whole area. We're next going to go to the Brick and Mortar Pub. So let's take a look at where this location is. Well, actually, let's do this first. Let's pull in the Delphi Public Library. That's where Betsy Blair went to use the restroom. So they're on the same street, which is Main Street. And let me see here. To give you guys a reference. Okay, so there's the Monon High Bridge. Here's Freedom Bridge. This is the Hoosier Heartland Freeway. Here is downtown. So hold on, let me do this. So I don't know if you can see it here. This is right here. This is the railroad bridge. It used to be red, or it used to be blue. Now it's red. And if you remember, according to Rick Allen, right in this vicinity right here is where Rick claimed he parked. So here's Main Street. If you are, so Rick Allen claimed he drove through town.
He would have had to have driven up Monroe Street, is it, to have got there?
So he would have passed, he would have passed the Delphi Library, and he would have passed the brick and mortar. Now let's go to the next one. We're going to go to City Hall. This is where I believe some interviews were conducted. Now we're going to go to the CVS, which should have captured Rick Allen dropping off the box cutter that he used in the dumpster. We're going to make this a big red flag.
Worth noting that he had to go out of his way to do that if he was going home.
So we're going to continue on. Yeah, he would have had to have passed his route to get home in order to go here. So what we're going to probably see is him passing even more cameras along this trip.
Yeah.
So next up, we're going to go to, let's see where Danny's auto shop is. All the way over here. That's kind of out of the way. Next up is we're going to see the Delphi Sitco. There's another one on the same route. Is that right? Sitco. Next up, we're going to look at the Dollar General. Well, that's weird. We're going to pin it there, even though it doesn't seem to be a real location.
Unfortunately, Google Maps does do that sometimes.
Then we have the Flora Dollar General. Oh, no. Then next we have the FFB ATM. I think that's like a credit union. And then we have the FF, which is same address, the 215 East Main Street. Hoosier Harvest Store.
Have you got a radio on in the background, Amy?
No, Mike is outside on the patio with the TV. Why is it loud?
No, it's just a few people are hearing it.
Sorry, guys. He just got home from work and he's watching. He has a flat screen on the patio and he's watching something. I'm sorry. Hoosier Harvest Store. There were 4 cameras. Okay, so let me hop back into chat and see. No, it's not the channel music. It's a TV outside. Sorry. Yeah, I mean, exactly. Why is the Flora added? Michael, do you want to come up and talk about the cameras by any chance? I don't know if he's still in here. Let me see. The next one is going to be, we got the public library on there. Mitchell's Mexican Grill. Then we have the Office Tavern, which is right there behind the courthouse. Let's just go ahead and pin the Delphi courthouse on here. Well, this is the parking area. Hold on. Let's do this. So here's the courthouse. Now, I have video footage of this, the outside of this. There is a camera here that shoots out this way and one that shoots out that way, right into this intersection. Then there is cameras here, and there was a Ring camera here when I was there this past October. Now, this street, what's important about this street is that, as you can see, you follow the track all the way out to the trail system. And even though it looks long on here, I'm telling you, it's a 5-minute drive. Not even that. This is the railroad bridge. Come back down here. This would be if Rick parked at the CPS building. Yes.
It's a bit pedantic, but the yellow line doesn't show the route he would have taken to get to that parking spot, because you can't get to it from where that ends.
No, it doesn't show that. What it does show is how he would have left. Now, to how he would have got there.
That's it. That jumps in there.
There's multiple routes on how he could have got there. So, and you know what's crazy is
He would have had to have gone up is it North Monroe Street?
Hold on.
Good part there. On the right of your map.
Hold on. I'm gonna pin. Hold on one second. Quester, can you do me a favor?
Go on.
I'm sorry. It's not on my list here for some crazy reason. What is Rick Allen's actual address? It's on Whiteman Drive.
It is Whiteman Drive, yeah. You're asking the number, aren't you?
Yes.
Can't remember, sorry.
Somebody in chat, give me Rick Allen's actual 1967. Okay, give me 1 second. Sorry, had to check on the baby. Okay, so let's look at this. 1967. We're going to pin it. Whoa. Why? It's not letting me pin it. Hold on. Oh, there we go. Okay, so this is where Rick lived. And according to the state, they said he left out of his house here, came up to the intersection, and went to the right. That would have been going the long way. If he would have left his house, went here, and went to the left, what we're showing you are all of the cameras that he would have passed on his way and back. So we need to pull up, let's pull up the Marathon gas station. I'm going to show you how close it is to his house. Okay. So you see here, this is the Marathon gas station. There were 3 cameras on this gas station that was not obtained because according to law enforcement, the drive was corrupted. And I know that my little lines are not perfect here, but Rick would have had to have passed this gas station. And not only would he have had to have passed this gas station, but this is also the Marathon gas station that Keegan Kline searched on February 13th. which I always thought if Keegan Kline was involved, and I can't say 100% that he is, but I always thought that if he was involved, because the roads are so windy and curvy, especially when you get out there by the trails where Ron Logan lives, that is it possible that Keegan was planning to meet someone at the Marathon gas station and follow them in? I don't know. But the fact that this was searched, and right here's where Rick Allen lived. What a great fucking person to pin it on, huh? Okay, so next up, First Financial. Mm-mm. Sometimes you have to put in the actual name to get the right location. Okay, so same place, First Financial Bank with the ATM. So it's the same place. Next up, we have Marathon gas station. Is that? We already did that one. Okay, so McDonald's. Which is right next door to the CVS. So if Rick Allen killed the girls, and dropped off the box cutter, the flimsy little tiny box cutter that CVS carries, he could have been caught on both of these cameras, because the right here is the dumpster. So let's see what else is left. We have Pizza King. Which sits right here on the corner across from the courthouse. So if you guys remember the trial, everybody was sitting out here on the sidewalk surrounding the courthouse. Right here. And right here is the Pizza King. So it was literally right across the street by a crosswalk to get to the Pizza King. Save-A-Lot. If you guys remember, this is where Rick Allen met Dan Doolin handed him the phone. Dan Doolin took down the EMI number off of his phone, got the information about when he was there. So this is where Rick Allen, from his home, was driving right here, Rick Allen's house. Remember, he was driving. He left his house. He had already called the police department, left his name and number with, I believe, Jerry Holman, and said, hey, contact me. I was out there. He gets a phone call from Dan Doolin on his way to the Save-A-Lot. Which is right here. It's a grocery store. Right behind CVS. Right behind the McDonald's. Right behind the dumpster. Rick Allen is a bold man. Then we have the Shell gas station. Nope. Quester, jump in here at any time. Where is this commercial drive? I don't see this commercial drive pulling up for the Shell.
If you're looking for the Walmart at Commercial Drive, that's Lafayette.
Okay. So I'm not even going to add that one. That's the Shell. Okay. So Sunoco gas station. Let's add that one. So we've got a Shell gas station and a Delphi Citgo, all pretty much in the same location. That's how they're coming up. So I'm not going to add that one. The transfer station, where Ron Logan dumped the trash bags on the morning of the 13th. Let's see where that is. That's all the way over here.
Interesting, isn't it?
Uh-huh. So in reference to Ron Logan's property, which is, I believe, 58, 300 North. Okay, so here's the one on High Bridge. Here's Ron Logan's property. So here's the transfer station. So he would have had, I'm looking at the route. So he would have had to,
It's a fair route, isn't it? You'd have had to taken.
yeah, he would have had to go all the way out and around.
Yeah. You can't get on the I-25 from the 300 North, can you?
Mm-mm.
So you would have had to go into town and down, past some Marathon gas, and out that way.
Yep. So what else is left on this map? The true value.
You've got a few down by Indiana Packers.
Where is Packers? Let's look at that.
Just off the I-25, south of where Rick's house is. There you go.
So Indiana Packers. I bet you that's like an office. I bet you that's their mailing address, but I bet this whole area right here is all Packers plant.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And if you remember, it's one of their cams that captured a white van driving along, wasn't it?
Yeah, that, and then there was a white box truck that sat out there on the roadway for a long time, and no one got in or out.
Yeah.
So let's check chat really fast and see if everybody's still following us. Yeah. Critical Thinker says the fact that the state did not mention these videos or Allen not being seen going to or from the trail tells me everything I need to know. Exactly.
I agree. If they'd have captured him on any of them, they would have been singing it from the rooftops.
Okay, so Sees Through says, what about the rumor of a camera capturing him on the factory opposite of the CPS building? So the only camera, let's do this.
That would be the Andersons, wouldn't it?
That would be Anderson's. So here's Logan's house right here. Here's the cemetery. Then we come on down here. We're going to go past the Hoosier Harvest Store. And this right here would have been where the state claimed he parked. Old CPS. We're going to make this red flag. We're going to make it a large icon, and we're going to make it black. Done. Okay, so now we're going to look up Anderson's. Anderson's is over here. So it's not actually an area that Rick's car would have passed. Let me see if I can get this into focus here. Okay. So if Rick came in the back way, I'm looking for Wilson's Bridge here.
There we are.
Okay, so here's Wilson's Bridge. So Rick would have had to have come from this direction, traveled along, this long, windy road. Now, mind you, right here, pay very close attention. We have a new witness that will remain unnamed, who claimed they were standing right in front of this property on this road right here. Actually, let's do this right here. And saw someone come from out of the woods here up to the road and get into a tan. What kind of car was it? Quester?
A Malibu, wasn't it?
A Malibu, a tan Malibu. And when you go through, oh, hold on. Whoops, sorry. When you
Not quite sure where the Malibu could have been parked around there, though.
I'm not sure either. But if we go through, let's go through so I don't know how well you can see. There is there is Trex that
There's
looks
something
like
in there. It looks like a turnoff there, doesn't it?
Yeah, like somebody like this is a path worn, but where it actually goes, I can't really see. I guess I'm going to have to learn how to do LiDAR. So let me turn this around. To this way. Okay, so Rick would have had to have drove down this road right here, this one. Past this house, 5717 West 300 North, where a witness is claiming at 4:30. Now, mind you, Muddy Bloody Guy was supposed to have been on 300 North at 4 o'clock. This witness claims they saw someone exiting the woods right here and getting in a tan Malibu at 4:30. Now, mind you, the crime scene is right in here. So somebody could have easily walked the creek bed, and came out right here. From the crime scene at 4:30. But this would have been the route that Rick Allen, according to the state, would have drove. He would have passed this property. He would have come out over here to 300 North, turned left right here. Past Ron Logan's property. And continued on down past the cemetery, which is this road, this open field area right here is where Muddy Bloody Guy was supposed to have been seen at 4 o'clock. Muddy Bloody Guy would have continued on. Somehow he would have been able to get past all 4 cameras at the Hoosier Harvest store without anybody seeing him. The Mears lot is right here.
Full of family.
Full of family. Right here's the Mears lot. No one's seen him, but there was a shit ton of family parked right out here across from the Mears farm. He would have had to have come all the way down here, parked at the old CPS, got out, and then walked upon arrival all the way back up 300 to enter the trailhead. Right there. Now, let's visit with the chat.
It's an absolutely ridiculous route for him to have taken.
All I know is that the witness described it as a tan Malibu, and that the guy was seen exiting the woods at 4:30. And this was a guy who came forward very early on to law enforcement and was interviewed and is kind of a reputable person in the community. Yeah. Muddy Bloody Guy walking on 300 next to where Derek German parked. Make that make sense. Mm-hmm. The headphones were plugged in at, well, they were plugged in. I'd have to go back and look because I can't remember off the top of my head. I know they were plugged in supposedly at like 5 something and unplugged around 10 something, 10:30 something. I have been, okay, so Quester, you remember I sent you some information about a tan Malibu that I had somewhere in my dusty files. And we forgot to go back because I was like, where did we get this information from?
Yeah, there was a lot of confusion about tan Malibus, wasn't there? At one point, Ellie was saying that Dan McCain was driving one.
Yeah, and my understanding was that David McCain drove I thought it was a black Honda, but it's been described as a dark colored Honda or a dark colored sedan.
Dark colored 4-door sedan, they called it. Yeah, as well.
Right. That's different than a tan Malibu.
Yeah, it's hard to mix those up, really.
It is. But I'm curious, as like you said, Quester, where at in front of this the 5717 address, where someone would have parked, because I have the video of us driving this route, and I mean, I don't. Do you guys want me to play it? I've played it before. Sarah Carball drove a red. I forget the model, but I know that it was red.
I can throw in a wobbly about a tan car. Derek German said that he saw one parked up by Wilson's Bridge, didn't he?
What was it?
I can't remember what make or model, but I'm pretty certain it was a tan car.
There might have been. Where does Sarah Carball live? Hold on, I'll show you. I believe she lived with her father, and let me see. Hold on. Kelsey would have passed his house, or she would have passed the Carball's house on the way to dropping the girls off at the bridge, I believe. So here, so let me switch over. Hang on one second. Let me switch over to the Delphi map. Shit. Okay, here's Euler Farms. And I know he lived on this route. Give me one second, guys. Sorry. This is the route that Kelsey would have taken from the Patty's house. Let me see. Copy. Right there. William Carball. That's where Sarah Carball lived. So this route would have been on the route. The yellow line is the route that Kelsey drove coming from the Patties. So she would have passed his house. This is a house that Sarah lived at. Now, here's another interesting fact. So here's Ron Logan's. Directly across from Logan's from the field, but you see it also is parallel with the road right here to Logan's. There were 2 cameras taken from there, and this was the interesting fun fact of Tina Garrison's property. Tina Garrison was a realtor in Delphi. She's retired now. There was a report. Hold on, and I will pull it up. Hold on. Maybe I won't pull it up. I've gone over it before. I don't know why it's not pulling up here. The Garrison report is an interesting thing because the Garrison report was entered at trial as exhibit PPP. And usually, like, the state's exhibits are numbered with numbers. And then once they get exhausted, like, the defense will then begin to enter exhibits with alphabetical numbers or alphabetic letters. So Stacy Eldridge, who was the forensic phone data expert who testified for the defense, her credentials were entered as exhibit PPP. And then Baldwin also entered PPP as the Garrison report. So the Garrison report reads as this. Let me see. I've got it. I don't know why it's giving me such a shit show. So what is this? I don't know why it's giving me such fits. Whoa, hang on, guys. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't know why this is doing this. I may have to just share my screen and pull it up that way. So here's the Garrison report. Can you guys see it? Okay, I'm going to enlarge it. And why this is entered as the Garrison's report and where this information came from, my understanding is that this woman who lived across the road, right here, from Ron Logan, came forward about what she witnessed out on the trails that day. And it's confusing as to how in the world does she have this information. But it was entered as an exhibit. You can go look it up. Exhibit PPP, entered by the defense, Andrew Baldwin. It says, and now there's pages of this report that are missing. When the exhibits were released, this was the page that was released of the Garrison report, but the rest of it is missing, as in it's like redacted or just gone. And what this reads, if I'm going to read it for you because it's small. As Blair is leaving, she noted a vehicle parked in an odd manner at the old Child Protective Service building. She said that it was not odd for vehicles to be parked there, just odd that it was backed in near the building. She said that vehicles often use the south edge of the parking lot so they are closer to the trail to get to the Freedom Bridge. I reviewed a tip with the tip number from Terry Wilson. Wilson was on his way to Delphi on February 13th on the Hoosier Heartland Highway at approximately 2:10. He observed what he described as a purple PT Cruiser or a small SUV type vehicle parked on the south side of the old CPS building. Wilson said that it was backed in as to conceal the license plate of the vehicle. During their interviews, both Blair and Wilson drew a diagram and had the vehicle they saw parked in the same general area and manner. Wesley McWhirter told ISP Tim Kendall in an interview that he remembered seeing a smaller, dark colored car parked at the old CPS building on State Route 300 North. He described the car as possibly being a smart car. Mick Whitaker works at the Hoosier Harvest Store and was seen leaving at 2:28 heading towards the CPS building. David Ross Riley advised that he came to the trailhead from the east. As he was passing the cemetery, a newer silver or gray car turns out of the cemetery. We have identified that as Fred Coghill. He is on video at 2:25 going eastbound towards the cemetery, at 2:30 going westbound leaving the cemetery. So Riley parks at the trailhead at approximately 2:30. He is the only vehicle there. Okay. He is the only vehicle there. Riley walks the trail across the Freedom Bridge with his dog and back to his vehicle. When he gets back, he observes vehicles parked belonging to Shelby Hicks, which was a white Impala, and David McCain, a tan Accord. Now, here they're describing it as a tan Accord. Riley is on video westbound, leaving at 2:55. David McCain is observed arriving on video at 2:44. Okay, now let's put this in perspective, guys. We've not seen these videos. We've not seen these timestamps. But Cheyenne had a robocall at 2:50 as she was approaching the Monon High Bridge, where she saw David McCain exiting from. And David McCain, from his own account and his own trial testimony, he didn't know when he arrived, but he knew that he went straight towards the Monon High Bridge and he was on the bridge for about 30 minutes. So if he arrived at 2:44 and Shelby Hicks had a time-stamped phone call that she provided to law enforcement at 2:50, and David McCain is already exiting the Monon High Bridge at 2:50 or after, how do any of these timestamps make any kind of fucking sense? McCain also said that he saw a white station wagon type car when he arrived. So at 2:44, he's describing a white station wagon type vehicle in the parking lot at Mears. At 2:44, he's describing, well, who drove a white station wagon? Derek German drove a white Subaru station wagon. But he wasn't supposed to arrive until after 3:11. The truck is David Riley's in his, wait a minute. McCain said that there was a large pickup truck parked there when he arrived. McCain also said that he saw a white station wagon type car when he arrived. The truck is David Riley's in his Honda Ridgeline. The car is Derek German's white Impreza. McCain said that he walked to the hub or the Niches Blush, then to Freedom Bridge, then back to his vehicle. He was observed on video leaving at 4:11. Okay, let's make this make sense. So according to this report, McCain arrives at 2:44. It's a 6.5 minute walk from parking at the Mears to the Monon High Bridge. 6.5, 7 minutes. David McCain is older, so I'm assuming he's a little bit slower. So let's do the math. So let's say for speedy purposes, 6.5 minutes there, 6.5 minutes back. What did he say he did?
About half an hour on the bridge.
McCain said, well, wait a minute, not according to this. McCain said that he walked to the hub. That would be what we would consider the Mears intersection.
Yep.
To the trail system, or going straight across from Mears to the Niches Trail, going down to the waters. So it says McCain said that he walked to the hub, then to High Bridge, meaning he turned left and went to High Bridge, then all the way out to Freedom Bridge, then back to his vehicle. That's not what he testified to, because he skips here that he went down the Niches Bluff and then all the way out to Freedom Bridge and then back. So that's 13, 7. So 2:44 to 4:11. His time on the bridge doesn't make, his time on the trails doesn't make any sense, because we don't know where he went. So 6.5 to get to the Monon High Bridge, 6.5 to turn around and walk back, at least to the Mears Trail. From the Mears Trail to Freedom Bridge is about 13 to 14 minutes, then back again. And then we have to incorporate him going down the Niches Blush, which he doesn't say that he did here, but I believe that he said that he did at trial. And then there's 30 minutes that he claimed he spent on the Monon High Bridge alone, which he would have done first, according to his trial testimony. He arrived, he walked toward the Monon High Bridge, was on the Monon High Bridge for 30 minutes, was coming off the Monon High Bridge, and he passed Cheyenne and Shelby Duncan, and Daniel Pearson and Shelby Hicks. This right here, presented to a jury, putting it all into perspective, would have had their heads spinning.
There's another thing there that would have had their head spinning. That piece of paper says McCain arrived at 14:44 and saw Derek German's car.
Yes.
What time What time did Derek German say he arrived?
After 3:11. I thought that he made the phone call, the first phone call to Libby's phone at 3:11 as he was crossing Wilson's Bridge. Am I wrong?
That's correct. That's correct. Yeah, here he's at Mears half an hour before he said he was.
Why?
Why would he lie about that? And if you work through McCain's times, they say he was there before 1444, which means Derek German was.
Mm-hmm. And you know what I think is funny is I think that because the defense stipulated to everything, and the state never had to actually prove how the Hoosier Harvester camera time was proven to be off, they utilized different times for different vehicles, and which is why we only seen the ones that they chose to show us at trial. When there were all these other people coming and going. I mean, Jesus Christ, Sarah Carball claimed that she passed the trail there in the Mears lot 4 different times that day. Now we have Tina Garrison, who lives around the corner, who they took 2 cameras from her property, who the defense is admitting her report. And I have no idea who, I'm trying to remember who, Critter Mama. I don't know who created the report, the FBI or local law enforcement. All I know is that she had a whole lot of shit to say that they dubbed this whole thing, which we only have 1 page of the whole thing, the Garrison report, and it was worthy enough that Judge Gall allowed it to be admitted as exhibit PPP for the defense. But she saw a whole bunch of shit go on that day, including Daniel Pearson's white truck. And I'm talking to Skip right now, and I believe that Skip is going to come on either tomorrow or Thursday. We're going to work it out, and he's going to talk about all of this and explain all of it because he knows more about the Garrison report than I do. But when we come back next week, Quester and I will have tracked down the map of the route that shows which route Rick would have taken from his home the back way and the possibilities of cameras capturing him there. And you see, based on the map that we just created today, with the list of cameras that law enforcement secured after the murders, how it would be completely impossible for Rick to not be seen coming or going, or both. If he came through town, we're going to see him coming and going. We're going to see what car he drove, where he parked, because we're going to know where he parked based on where he's seen on the cameras. And that's all I got today, Quester. How about you?
Well, there is the one big thing that I pointed out. You know that those notes I sent you in regard to Fig Solve's remarks.
Yes,
Did you notice?
I haven't been able to go through it yet completely. But go ahead.
Right. If you take a quick look in there and look for a mention of a junky red car.
Whose car is that?
Oh, you'll love it. Go on, have a read.
Hold on.
It literally sticks a firecracker up Ellie's ass.
Oh, okay. He said, go on, have a read. All right, let me pull it up.
Wait for the bang.
Okay. Wait a minute. What is this called? Okay. Oh, that's why. So it is a Word document. Let's see. Okay, Brad Holder had a vehicle on surveillance at work. A vehicle in a car parked does not prove the owner of that vehicle was at work. But why not identify this vehicle? Is it because law enforcement didn't check the footage and just believed Brad Holder? Allow me to clarify this issue. His work said that on the 13th, he arrived in a junky red car with a G on the bumper. Are his work liars? Not a white van. Brad Holder lied. So how could he be seen driving it on the private drive? Are you talking about Brad Weber?
Sorry, Brad Weber. Yeah.
Okay. Not a white van. Brad Weber lied. So how could he be seen driving it on the private drive? Who was really using that van? We have no evidence at all that it was in fact Brad Weber. But say it was. He must have parked it up somewhere, collected, and gone to work in the junky red car, then returned to the van after leaving work. Why do all of that? Okay, so explain that, Quester.
Right.
Are we talking about?
We're talking about Brad Weber, the so-called driver of the white van that Rick Allen's supposed to have seen.
Uh-huh.
Now, he's supposed to have driven to work in his white van and driven back to the Webers in it. However, his work said he arrived in a junky red car.
Brad Holder or Brad Weber?
Brad Weber, sorry. I wrote Holder down by mistake. Too many Brads.
Yeah, there are.
Yeah. So how come he turned up in a red car when he's supposed to have been in a white one? He doesn't even have a red one, according to all the photographs of his property.
Okay, so Holder was supposed to have been, I thought Holder was, okay, so they're asking
Weber.
questions. Laura is asking, she thought that it was Holder driving the junky red car. I thought Holder was driving a truck to work. And
no, I've got you mixed up now. It's Weber we're talking about.
Right. But Chad is asking that they thought Holder was driving a junky red car. But I don't think it was Holder because I believed Holder was driving a truck. But did Weber own a junky red car?
Not as far as I know.
So See-Through said they are referring to Holder's red truck. It wasn't junky, it was newish. So Quester, clarify where you got the junky red car from. What notes are those from?
Thanks, Motion.
Oh. Okay, so we're going to clarify and we're going to bring that back to you guys next week. So guys, help us track it down.
Am I getting confused between the Brads?
I don't think so because I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I'm going to have to go back and check. I do know that Brad Holder's, and this is something that we're going to have to dig into with Brad Holder's alibi because there was nothing other than the
critical thinkers clarified it. Holder's HR lady said he drove a junky red truck.
A junky red truck. Okay.
Yeah, so I must be mixing them up.
Must have been. So we still need to clarify it because as far as Brad Holder goes, I don't buy his alibi. And I don't know if there was enough time that he could have left work and made it out there to the trails. But we do know that his time clock doesn't match his normal shift hours. And he also fabricated him checking in at a workout gym at 1:40 something on the afternoon of the 13th, when he was, if you believe the time card, he would have been at work. So he's lying and putting on a show or a fabrication for something or someone. I wasn't prepared to go over that today. And then Candy said Holder sold his truck. Depositions and testimony hasn't matched in this redacted mess of a case. Since the redacted mess of this case started, no, it does not. And we need to track. I have a report of someone talking about a tan car. I'll have to go back through our communication quester and track down where I sent that to you, because I asked you where we got that information from. And it was way back in an early vault before we ever came across this new witness at 5717 West 300 claiming they saw an individual coming out of the woods. And yes, critical thinker. Brad Weber also owned a little black Mazda, which is what we were originally told he drove to work that day. Then it changed to the white van because he had to go service his ATM machines.
And he only used the van when he was towing the trailer, he said.
Yes. And I don't believe there was a trailer on that van that day, seen on the Sanderford camera. It was just the white van. It wasn't pulling a trailer that I remember. So that's all I've got today, guys. Quester, you want to shoot for next week?
Right. Next week. Yeah, we can do.
Okay.
We should have a few things sorted out by then.
Yep. And we will attack more of this Brad Holder's testimony, and hopefully you guys, and it will also provide the map that we have of Rick Allen's route from Whiteman Drive, the back way, and cross-check it again with the cameras, which you can see clearly by the map that we just did today, that if anybody can get their hands on all of the business footage that was collected, the truth is going to come out. The truth is absolutely going to come out. Thank you, American Night Mom. Yeah, Stephanie, Weber always seemed to have a bunch of cars at his property. And if I remember correctly, Critical Thinker has a photograph right around the time of the murders of, I think it was a helicopter photo where she either screenshotted it or she got it from a news media. I can't remember. Where it showed there's like 5 or 6 cars parked in front of his house. And we were trying to identify them. So April, you might want to, if you want to resend that to me, I will post it on the community page and we can take a look there. And then if anybody's got old screenshots or old whatever, and you can come across the tan Malibu, I would love to know what information you have on it. Yeah, it was good to see everybody today. Love you all. Please share the video, like and subscribe. And I'm going to get some information out about the upcoming Delphi trip that we're planning. It's going to be good. It's going to be really good. And we're going to bring you back a boatload of information, hopefully. So Fanboy Goddess says, so to sum it up, there was failure to determine who was where when driving what, failure to get cameras. No, they got the cameras. It was a failure that the defense looked at them. I'm sure the state looked at them. And you can trust and believe your bottom dollar that if the state had any information on those cameras that proved their case and their narrative, we would have seen it. We didn't. Yeah, well, the drama's not, yeah, hopefully. So, all right, Quester, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to go in here and pick up this baby and start to cook dinner. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Drama's over and out. I've said my piece. That's all that really needs to be said. Should have never came to this. It's unfortunate. I'm sad for everybody. Sad for the case. I felt like I lost a friend for no reason other than just, who knows? I don't know. So thank you guys for always being here and being supportive. Quester, any last words before we go?
No, I don't think I have. No.
All right. Well, you and I will talk all week, and then we'll see everybody next week. And actually, I will probably see you either tomorrow night or Thursday night. I'll be back on with Skip to clarify some of this stuff and to talk Daniel Pearson. So we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.
Cheerio.